For thousands of years, Alaska Natives made their livelihood as subsistence hunters and fishers. With the discovery of gold, their lives were forever changed as they grew accustomed to the growing cash economy.
It was very hard for the villages to have employment, and mostly the few jobs that were in the villages were taken by white people, like the post office, the stores, you know.
The fur trapping decline and the local economy was at a standstill. So they had to come into the urban areas to pursue employment.
Fairbanks looked so big for me. I remember standing by that state building downtown on 2nd and 3rd, and I just looked up at that building, and it was so huge.
The experiences of the first Alaska Natives to move to the city of Fairbanks were marked by discrimination.
I remember one time we were up here and for the carnival, and they had signed over the bars, it says, "No natives allowed." To think that our native boys were at Ladfield out here, and on weekends they could come to town and they couldn't even go to the bar and have a drink of beer. And here they're fighting for the rights of these people that didn't think they were good enough to come into their bars and have a drink.
Some place where I was stationed, I was the only Indian in the outfit. And a lot of people called me names. And some restaurants wouldn't serve me. And it really hurt. We swore to serve the country, and we did, but still we were being classified.
By the mid-1960s, most of the signs had come down, but Alaska Natives continued to find that they were not welcome in public places.
That's what really got me interested in doing things for Native people. When I think back, it wasn't for myself. It was for the people that used to come to town from the villages. They had no place to go.
While the civil rights movement was shaking the nation, Alaska Natives in Fairbanks started meeting around Poldine Carlo's kitchen table to design an association that would bring Alaska Native people living in Fairbanks together. An association that would speak on behalf of Alaska Natives who had little political clout. And an association that would meet their cultural, social, and economic needs.
We started inviting people to our house, and pretty soon it was during the carnival time that it was our anniversary, so it was a big thing, and downstairs we used to just fill with people. In fact, Bill and I used to go to bed at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they were still going down there. Yeah.
In 1967, FNA was incorporated as a nonprofit under the laws of the state of Alaska.
Ralph Purdue, you'll be surprised, he's a relative of mine. He's my cousin. I always give credit to Nick Gray. He was an Eskimo from Nome. When he came over here, he started talking to Ralph about starting an organization, and he said he had started one in Nome, the Bering Straits Native Corporation, I think it was. And when Ralph started talking to me about it, I told him there's no way we could do that. I said, you know what? I said, Ralph, this is a white people's town. I said, no way we could do that. Oh yes, he said, there's you and Bill and Nick Gray and myself. So that's how we got started. I remember saying, Nick, Mr. Gray, and he, no, don't call me that. Call me, what was it? Jusimo. I said, Jusimo, how come? He said, my dad was a Jew and my mother was an Eskimo. Jusimo.
Membership then, as it is now, was incorporated to Alaska Natives and American Indians of 1/4 blood or greater.
We didn't have any money in those days, nothing, except bake sales, which we'd almost run to death to get into Juneau. So this guy stands up and he says, well, he says, we'd like to have, I can't remember how much money from Alaska Native Brotherhood in Juneau, if you'd make us a loan. And this gavel came down, and then this guy he says, well, what do you have for collateral? And of course, the room just went silent. We had nothing, you know. Finally, some guy said, well, he says, yes, we do. He says, we got Mary Jane Fade, George Etta Lincoln, and Laura Burke. He says, okay, you can have the money.
And the meetings would get jam-packed sometimes. And sometimes it got out of hand. Ralph Perdue at the next meeting gave me a mallet to pound the table on to bring the meeting back to order. Well, when it was getting out of hand, I got the mallet and I hit it once and I broke it. There was a lot of heated discussion, but we walked out of there as combined effort of all being one. That was the beauty part of it, that we worked together to strive for the betterment of Native people.
Over the years, F&A programs have helped countless people find new jobs, maintain sobriety, celebrate their culture, and receive an education.
And then another thing was I was involved in was the F&A potlatch. It was a big thing then too.
We charged $2 to get in the door, and then everybody got a card that belonged to the Fairbanks Native Association. So we ended up with a membership of about 200.
We used to have the governors come up here to take part in our potlatches, and they even took part in dancing. You know, it was all fun for all, you know.
It became a annual thing, Fairbanks Native Association potlatch.
And of course, of us ladies, we had to all get dressed up and have our hair done, and gee. My husband was a hard worker, very hard worker. He never went to school in his lifetime. He always said he never stepped in a schoolhouse, but he flew a plane. He could take a cat, a big D8, and take it apart and put it all back together. He'd do anything, and we had a mine out of Ruby when we were living there, and when we moved up here, he bought one at Hunter Creek that's out of Rampart.
Ralph wanted this thing very badly, and he worked very well on it. You know, he worked both sides of the street, so to speak. He could work the white side and the native side because he was adopted by white people for education. He could walk into a boardroom and present his cases, like to the base, you know, if the alcohol got too bad, why, he'd get the base to send the MPs in to patrol the bars and things like that, or he'd go down to the chief of police and say it's against the law to serve a drunk a drink. And he says, you want me to pull your license? And that cleared a lot of it up. I'm just glad to see it's doing well, you know, and carrying on, and to be proud.
About 2 years after Bill died, he's been gone now for 14 years. I went out in the morning to pick up the paper, and I heard a robin for the first time. It was in May. And I came back in and I had a good cry, and then I thought, oh, why don't I sing, you know? And then when I was telling the kids about it, and I did this song, they said, oh, Mom, that sounds too lonesome. The very beginning of it is where I say, what is this robin saying to me so lovingly? You know, that it just, really got to hear, I told the kids, I said, well, since you kids think it's too lonely, I said, your dad and I used to love to waltz to Fats Domino's, Blueberry Hill. I said, I'll put the tune at the end of that song. So that's how it ended up. Adot niye di odil guha setsedelu dot likuni ana one ana oni adisi kula sudini di God and ko sitenali letan kune ana oni ana oni ana oni ana oni ana oni. Now this part is where Fats Domino's tune come in. Though we're apart, you're part of me still, 'cause you were my thrill on Blueberry Hill. 'Cause you were my thrill on Blueberry Hill. So that's my love song. We were married for 52 years when he left.
As FNA continues to build a stronger community, we will hold true to our mission to provide quality services in a professional manner for our membership and the greater Fairbanks community.
Like I said, I had a wonderful, wonderful life. I really had, and up to now. And I hope it's like that till I kick the bucket. Really, life's been just beautiful. Every morning when I get up and I look out, and it's just, even if it's snowing or raining, whatever, it's a wonderful day to be alive. You just can't help but think that way.